Hi guys, today's video is going to be on fire extinguishers. Before we get to the extinguisher itself, it's important you know some basics about fire. You have to have three components present to have a fire. There has to be a fuel, something to burn, oxygen, you have to have oxygen present to sustain the fire, and then you have to have some sort of an ignition source, a spark, a flame, it could be high heat, or it could be a chemical reaction. It's known as the fire triangle. The fire extinguisher works by removing at least one of those legs or one of those components. If one of them is gone, you cannot sustain a fire and it will go out. So using the extinguisher itself, you've all seen fire extinguishers before. You've got a canister here that holds some sort of media inside. It's under pressure. The gauge, which tells you if it has enough pressure. You've got a handle with a pull pin, and then some sort of a hose or a nozzle that directs the media out of the extinguisher. We use the PASS acronym, which stands for, or actually it's P-A-S-S. P is for pull, that's pulling the pin. A is for aim, aiming it at the base of the fire. The first S is for squeeze, that's squeezing the handle. And then the second S is for sweep. So you're sweeping from side to side while aiming at the base. So typically you're going to start 6 to 8 feet away from the fire and you want to aim at the base of the fire. So basically you're going for the fuel, not for the flames. If you aim at the flames, it's too late. You've already burned, so it's not going to do any good. So you're always aiming at the base of the fire. So again, pull will be pulling the pin, right-handed, and then A is for aim, so I'm going to aim at the base of the fire. Squeeze, I would squeeze down on the handle, and then sweep would be moving side to side as I walk up to the fire to put it out. You should only try to use an extinguisher if the fire is just beginning. It's called the incipient stage. Usually they say if it's small enough that you could hug it, you shouldn't, but if you could hug it, it's probably small enough that a fire extinguisher, if used properly, will extinguish it. If it's bigger than that, or if you run out of a fire extinguisher, you would never go to get another one. You'll lose any momentum in knocking that fire down. You should only fight a fire if you feel comfortable doing so. You also want to make sure that you have the exit right behind you. And that's why fire extinguishers are usually placed near an exit. You should never have the fire between you and your way out of the building. Always call the fire department, even if you're going to use a fire extinguisher. If you have somebody else there, ask them to go ahead and call while you're using the extinguisher. Otherwise, try to extinguish it real quick. If the one doesn't do it, call the fire department immediately and get out of the building. Also, try to minimize the spread, the oxygen. Close windows, doors if it's feasible and it doesn't put you in danger. At least when you leave, close the door behind you. A few things about extinguishers themselves. The pull pin, there's always going to be a tab. It's a little plastic safety tab. If the tab is missing, chances are the pin was pulled at some point. Now maybe somebody was just playing around with it, but you don't know if some of the media has been used in the tank. The gauge only tells you if there's enough pressure to push the media out. It doesn't tell you how much is left in there. In extinguishing media, the amount or the capacity is done by weight. So it has to be weighed and then can be filled, if it's the type of extinguisher that can be serviced. You always want to check. There are monthly inspections that are supposed to be done. Check to make sure that the nozzle has no obstructions, that there's no rust or dents or anything, the bottom of the extinguisher all around the body. You need to make sure that the label is intact and all legible. There's also going to be an inspection tag, which is this here. It will tell you that when the monthly inspections have been done. It also typically serves as the annual inspection as well. So these are put on when the annual is done and then written on or knocked out every month thereafter when they're inspected. So it's important that that is done so that you always know it's ready to go and available to be used. Okay? Don't play around with them. They use different medias. Some of it's not good for you to be exposed to, especially for long periods of time. So again, we'll go over this more in depth when we do our training this summer. I'll have a quiz for you guys that will be on the Remind app. Thanks, and have a good day.